Okay, all right. So first of all, I'll introduce myself. Unfortunately, I only have English. Even though I have lived here since I was 21, I've lived at Fort Peck, on Fort Peck reservation, off and on. And I came here in 1971 as a school teacher. Now, when I was being interviewed for teaching school, I was really excited that I got a job offer from Wolf Point, Montana. Anyway, I went back to the office and I was really excited because I grew up at Three Forks, which is about 30 miles from Bozeman, MSU, where it was called Montana State University before, while I was going there. But I went back to the office and I was really excited because I said, well, on the weekends I'll be able to go home and visit my folks at Three Forks. And my boss took me in to his office and he had this huge map of Montana. And he said, Terry, he said, this is where we are. And he said, this is where Wolf Point is. And I was like, way across the state. And I thought, oh my, okay, all right. Well, I didn't have any other serious job offers, so that was my adventure. Now, I grew up as a non-Indian, and obviously, maybe you can tell by my skin color, whatever. Oh, I was born non-Indian, hey, what can I say? And my growing up was tough. We were very poor. I don't know if you've ever heard the term white trash, but that's what we were in the town of Three Forks. We lived out in the country. My folks were very poor. My dad was a laborer, worked on the railroad. My mom didn't work. There were 5 of us kids. There was not enough money. There was always more work to be done. We didn't have an indoor bathroom. We had an outhouse. And that was a time when everybody in town had an indoor bathroom, but we didn't. And so we were poor, we were different, we were strange. And my mother insisted that one of her children was going to go to college, and well, actually it was one of her girls, and I was the 3rd girl, none other after me. So I just went because my mother told me I had to, basically. So I get this job offer, and at the time, by the way, just so that you get some history, at the time I was growing up, females only had 2 professions if they were college educated. One was being a teacher, the other was a nurse. No other jobs. I mean, women just didn't do other jobs in our world that we knew about. And so I picked teaching because A, I don't do math very well, and B, I didn't like blood. So, you know, being a nurse kind of left that out. So here I am, I'm 21 years old in 1971, and now I know I'm going way up there. So I get here, and honestly, the only thing I knew about Indians was that romantic vision I had from maybe television or books or whatever. They were the noble savages, pardon me if that's offensive, I don't mean it to be, but I meant it in a really good way. They were like a fairy tale people or whatever. So when I first came up here, I was, and I'm gonna be really honest with you because this is part of my story, is when I came up here, I had never seen so much dark skin in my life. And I felt very, it was just so different. I felt scared, not scared, just I didn't quite know. Anxious would be the word, because I just didn't really know. And as I got to know people and they got to know me, I don't, you know, it's like, yeah, you're Indian, okay, you know, I don't, unless we're making jokes about skin color or whatever, it's not that big a deal. But I will tell you now, when I go back to Three Forks, where I grew up, and I'm in Bozeman, I am just shocked at how many white people I see. There are so many blondes with light skin. I feel of it, and skinny people, by the way. Not, you know, it's like I don't belong there. It just doesn't fit. And I say this because hopefully you young ones will expand your vision, and you will go out and get your education or sample some of the world. But I just wanted to let you know that non-Indians, we are all human. We're all human, and we all have similar experiences. And so when you first go out and there's all of these white people out there and you're the only one with darker skin, or maybe somebody walks up and says, well, your last name is Yellowtail. Are you an Indian? You know, do you still live in a teepee? Most of those people, they really want to know. Don't be offended, because you do have something special. You have a heritage, you have a grounding, you have a history that is so awesome. And I'm actually very jealous, or envious, I guess maybe is the word, because my history is, well, we came from Germany, you know, yada yada, but I don't have stories from thousands of years ago. I don't have sacred places that are only found here. I don't, the family systems here different than the one I grew up in. We never lived with relatives. You know, we never did. It was, you're always by yourself. You don't live in units anyway. So you have a lot of really absolutely marvelous, wonderful, sacred things about your culture, about yourself. And if you don't know about it, that's okay. Learn. When Bob first started, he didn't know his language. He was an adult before he started taking classes. He taught himself. He talked to elders. He talked to people who still could talk Indian, and he's learned. Now people look at him as okay, well, he's one of our native speakers. And so I'm just giving you this information. Okay, now I'm going to tell you, now you get a feel of how uncomfortable I felt. Just because I didn't know. And it's interesting how the Creator really has guided my life. And I choose to call the power greater than myself the Creator, because I think it fits much better than the word I grew up, which was God. Because the Creator is the one who created all of us, who has many, many, many human beings. I mean, made us, but we all have lifestyles that are different, and that's okay. But we all pray in our own way, and we pray to the Creator, not to just one God. And therefore, Muslims, Hindus, oh goodness, I can't think of
Buddhists.
Buddhas, yeah, Buddhas.
Jews.
I think Jewish, yeah. Those are all, I believe we all need spirituality in our life, and it doesn't matter how we pray, because we're all praying.
Tell them about your experience with my family. See, I met Terry, I was still in the Navy.
Wow.
And I had to go back for my final tour. This was in 1972, 73. And when I left Terry, I told her just to go over and visit my family in Papa, because they're very great people, and they really are. They're humorous, they're loving, they're accepting.
And they want to meet you.
Yeah, and they want to meet you, so she did. And then she'll take it from here. But
okay.
Once they met her, they began to tease her.
Okay, all right. So now I'm a young school teacher. First time away from home. I mean, anyway, you know, I was young. Gosh, 21 seems so young to me now. But one of the things that happened is I wanted to choose a church in Wolf Point. And I went to some of the other ones, and they just didn't feel right. So I went to the United Dakota Presbyterian Church, which was the Indian church in Wolf Point. And the folks there, they were so warm, so welcoming. They just brought me in. I loved it, because I had missed that in my growing up. We didn't have that in our family. It just wasn't in my family. And it felt so awesome. So now it is Christmas vacation, and Bob's cousin, who was dating another school teacher, said, my cousin is coming home from the Navy and I want you to meet him. And so she was white, and of course the cousin was Indian, and so we were at her house, and here comes Bob, the cousin, and I don't know whether it was his charisma. I just instantly fell in love, and hopefully it was the same way. I'm not sure, but at any rate, he was on his last legs of going back to the Navy, and just a short story. At the end of 3 days, when he was leaving, we had decided we would get married at someday. But he had to go off back to the Navy. So that's why he said, just go meet my family in Poplar. It's fine. Well, now I'm really shy. I was. Maybe not so much anymore, but I really was. And so I screwed up the courage. It was so scary, but I did. I still can't believe I did it to this day, but I went over by myself, knocked on the door, and said, I'm Terry Pfeiffer. Your son Bob told you about me, right? Did he? Anyway, they were so awesome. They were so awesome. And very loving, kind. The grandma and grandpa lived there. His mom and dad lived there, and then the kids lived there. It was a multi-generational house. So time goes on, and Bob and I get married. And
no, wait.
Oh, wait.
The teasing story.
No, that's after we got married.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You can edit it.
Yeah, it was. No, I liked it. It was.
No way.
Hey. We help each other. Okay, anyway, so we get married, and now we would go to college, but in the summer, every summer he would come home and he'd work for the tribe, and that's where he worked for the planning office.
Mm-hmm.
Where they started the community college. There was money that had come out from the federal government for Indian tribes to start their own community colleges. And so we'd live in the summer in the multi-generational house with everybody. And they would tease me. They would tease me about things. Well, now I gotta tell you, in the culture I grew up in my family, in my town, the only time there was teasing was to be mean or to put you down, to make fun of you. It wasn't. And so when the family would tease me, it would really hurt my feelings. I would get tears in my eyes because that's what I grew up with. I didn't know. And finally his mom noticed, and she came over to me and she said, I had just been teased, and I was really hurt, and she said, Terry, she said, we only tease people we like. That's us Indians. That's how we are. We tease people we like. We don't tease people we don't like. And I went, oh, wow. I mean, that was a whole shift for me. It was amazing. And so that kind of has been my life, learning the Native American culture, the culture that Bob grew up in, the family culture. And I want you to know that you can be true to your own Native American culture and join other cultures too. It's a wonderful brain that we have. We are inclusive as human beings, not exclusive, at least if we're living a good life. So one other thing I want to tell you real quick before I'm done with this is the whole subject of powwows. Now, powwows were mysterious things to me. I didn't know anything about powwows. Celebrations, I didn't know what they were. To me, they seemed very sacred and for Indians only. And I was very, very nervous. Well, of course, the family would say, okay, well, Poplar Indian Days or Iron Ring, I think it was Iron Ring. Anyway, that was a big to-do. All of my mother-in-law's sisters and brother, they'd all come home, and it was like the house was just packed with people, and there's eating and laughing and stories. No booze, no alcohol. This is the wonderful thing that I loved about growing up in my husband's family, is that they did not use alcohol to quote-unquote loosen their lips. They were genuine. And it was real, and it was so loving and inclusive and caring. I didn't have that growing up. So when they first say, well, we're going to go down to the celebration tonight, I go like, well, can I go? Well, sure you can. No, are you sure? And then I would, yeah, come on. We'd go down there, and I'd sit and watch, and I'd think, oh, these people are looking at me and going like, that white girl shouldn't be here. I don't know why she's here. This is ours. And I had all these things in my head. But honestly, it wasn't that way at all. It was how I thought about it and saw it, not how it was. But if you can, you that are watching, if you can learn from me and know that you yourself are so okay to be out in the world, to be with other people, to share what you know, to learn what you don't know, you will find so many good people everywhere. And I really hope that you all will be really good to the white-skinned ones that come to your reservation, that come to your home, that you will be inclusive and caring and kind, and teach them and invite them, let them see the absolutely beautiful culture and good things that you have and you've had for thousands of years. With that, thank you very much for listening.